Hello, everybody. So we're trying.
Hello.
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 Let's do that again. Take that over. Hello, everybody. So we're gonna do something different. We're gonna do a reaction video to a video that's kind of going around about some things. We'll listen to it and respond. I'll try my best to not wear all my emotion on my face.
Yes, and I will say, so I was scrolling on Instagram when I saw this, and I immediately thought about Jeff and was like, he gonna be like, what? Who? All right, let's play it.
Big brother, my dad, my mom, my OGs, I listen to y'all. Like, it's really a slap in the face to me. If I, you know what I'm saying? I just was telling my girl that, like, I don't think you need a therapist. I don't think I need a therapist. I feel like I feel like I'm not a man if my girl get a therapist. It's like, damn, you actually call somebody and listen to what they got to say over me instead of just listening to what I'm telling you. I just feel less of a man.
You know that sound like personal problems. So when I sent you this, like, what was your what was your reaction? Because no.
If my face isn't showing it, I'm like, what are you talking about? Yeah. So many things. Male fragility, ego, all these things. But the first thing is, I didn't realize Young Thug was a licensed therapist. So that's good to know. Rappers are getting into the therapy game. That's good. Shout out to BetterHelp. I don't understand the logic. As someone who's been in therapy, a couple different times, and I'm just back into it starting last spring.
Yeah.
I like the idea of talking to somebody who doesn't know me. And I'm not going to run into my therapist. If I do, it's fine. But it's yeah. Oh my gosh, there's so many layers to it. Like the first thing. Oh, sorry. Well, the first thing that jumps to mind is he hasn't done his own work on himself. Like the idea that he should do those things. I'm assuming some of his OGs and some of these people he's referencing will probably be like, yeah, you're wrong. I know the host of the show was probably going to point out that there's some fault in the logic. And my point, if I was going to talk to him, was not to prove him that he's wrong, but to see that maybe there's just another way of looking at this. Mm-hmm. That having someone to talk to is another layer of support. We both have therapists. Yeah. We both love going to our therapist because we can talk about anything open.
And she gonna keep it real.
Right. Like a little too, like calm down. What was the thing I was told her recently? She was like, my triggers, and she's like, and then all those things are based on this, and this. And I was like, all right, look, I came here to listen, maybe get some jokes and some tools to help me out, not for you to open me up and point out who I really am.
Yeah. I don't know. So the first thing I thought when I saw it was that it sounds very controlling and like you want power over this person. And to me, that is such a red flag. That's not even a red flag. The building is on fire, which means that, girl, you need to leave, okay? And to say this, I did not go back and listen to, or we didn't go back and listen to like the whole interview or anything like that. But just that snippet was enough for me.
Because I think that's this is a generalization, but I think that's a problem that's going on, like with different, just couples, families. And it could be it's not even a gender issue at this point. It could be, in this case it is, but in general, you have one person's like, why are you talking to the person? I may know somebody who was told they didn't want their significant other to go to talk to a therapist because the therapist was a woman and they didn't want that woman's voice in his head. And he was like, what's a therapist? Yeah. Or I think it also has to do with like trust and security. Like we talk about, it's open. And also there's things that she's gonna talk to a therapist. It's none of my business. Right. And if she wants to share, which she usually shares a lot of different things, but I don't expect her to have every single thing that she ever thought and concern be brought to me. Right. And if it is an issue, concern, she wants my feedback, she's going to come and talk to me. Right. That's the point of therapy. The point of therapy is having an objective person who is skilled in these matters to give you tools to process and also to be and help you ask the right questions. Yeah. I can ask some good questions. You have a journalism background. You can ask some great questions.
Yeah, but
there
could be that other person that can see things from a different perspective. And I think also like he never like he's probably the problem. And and I saw a comment under this, and it was just like, she's probably going to go to therapy, and the therapist is going to tell her that you're the problem, and that's probably what you're afraid of.
Yeah.
And that is exactly what it is. But again, it goes back to power and control. That goes back to a form of abuse, because you're trying to manipulate this person into thinking that they can't talk to someone because they should be able to confide in you and everything, and that's not okay. Right. And the other thing about it is the point of a point of a therapist is to help you better yourself. Right. Like, it's not always about someone else, right, but it can help you figure out how you react to certain things, or how you're getting how you adapt to certain environments, or if something life-changing has happened. And if you're familiar with Thug and his case and like all those different things, just think about what she may have been through for however long he was in there, on top of whatever lifestyle that they have, or whatever the case may be. But to me, just hearing that very small clip, that short clip, it just was like, oh no, like, run.
Yeah. I mean, all of that is so spot on. And then the other part that gets me is about, it's like, there's a male ego part there where, like, some men have been taught that they have to be everything. And I think the healthy way this one, well, I think it was a therapist actually, they were talking about relationships, said, there is no way that your spouse or significant other is going to give you everything that you need. Right. Now, there's certain things that it should only be from that person. But, like, it could be as simple as you have an interest that your spouse isn't into, so you have your friends that you do those things with. Right. Fantastic. But I think it sounds like it's definitely there's control. I don't think he's done his own work. I don't know Thug. I mean, I don't know Mr. Thug. Is Young Thug his actual name? His mama gave him that. It's crazy. But the idea that you are so insecure in yourself that you should, like, it's posed as like bravado. Like, I'm gonna provide for her. I'm gonna do these things. No, you shouldn't be that person. Now, don't get me wrong. In the healthiest relationship, you should be able to look at the person and say, I am upset and I don't like, something about you is bothering me. But maybe to get to that point, you have to talk to a therapist. Yeah. The worst part about therapy, let's just put it out there, is when you go in there and you think you know what you're gonna say, and you say it, and they're like, oh, and they just drop a bombshell on you. You're like, oh, I've been to couples therapy in the past, and we both went in there like pointing at the other person, and the therapist's like, hold on, and talked to each of us about ourselves. And I was like, oh, hold on, I didn't come here for that. I came in here to tell her how she's wrong, and she needs to listen to me. And the therapist was like, yeah, I don't do that, because you can't control the other person. You can't control their feelings or thoughts, or whatever. All you can do is control your behavior and your response. And that's the part that, like, Thug is trying to control. It sounds like a lot of things when it comes to her. And for her, it's like, you want her to be the healthiest. Well, you should want her to be the healthiest version. Right. Can I also make one caveat? As someone who's raised in the church, a person who prays, has gone to church, has done all these different things, you can go to church and go to therapy. To quote, I forget his name, he's in Sacramento, he said, hear me out, maybe God put that therapist in there and that medicine so you can deal with yourself, so you can also then be in church and do these things without things getting in the way. Just saying, I'm not trying to like be mean about someone's beliefs, but I'm just saying, like, hey, therapy is healthy.
Everybody has their own way of processing things, and if that means that they go to church, or if that means that they go to their friends sometimes, or if that means that they go to their therapist, everyone, you have to figure out what is your means of figuring out what's going to work for you, because sometimes you may be doing something that you don't even know. Like, and I will say this, therapists are really good, kind of like what you said about like calling you out, because my therapist did this to me the other day, because I am one of those people, like, I typically will reach out to my therapist, like, if I'm hitting like a rough patch in my life or something like that is going on. And she was like, no. She literally, I saw the email pop up and I read the first 2 lines. I said, oh, you're reading me. Yeah. Oh, okay. But I needed to hear that. She's like, you can't be inconsistent with going to therapy, because you're not going to get the most out of your experience if you're picking and choosing when you want to come. And I was like, fine, girl, you can take my little $15 every 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's the one where you're like, I was told all of my triggers are based on assumption. And I was like, first of all, watch your mouth. But it was true. It was based on me reading into it, me overthinking, and they're saying, is that true? And I could be very logical in how I approach things. And she used that as a way to point out, well, what's actually being said? And I'm like, well, they said this. And she's like, so what's being said? I'm like, well, they're thinking this. And she's like, do you know that? I was like, oh, okay. Like,
Yeah.
but when they're doing, we both in situations where they point those out. The other thing is, can we just talk about support? So let's say you have church, maybe you do like a sports team, you have your friends that you grew up with, your friends that you work with, you're in organizations, like we're both part of, D9 organizations, we're part of social organizations, other things, and you have a therapist. One thing, you can have, no one's ever been like, you know what I have? Too much support. way too many people that care about me and they're honest with me. And also, to the friendship point, if you have friends who are never honest with you, and challenge you and point you on what you're doing, they either question you or make you think about what you're doing or just call you out on your nonsense.
Yeah.
Hear me out. They might not be your friends. They're just people that you hang out with.
Yeah. And I think too, in that clip that bothered me was that he kept saying that if she was to go to the therapist, he wouldn't feel like a man. And it's like, no, that's something internal that you need to figure out why you feel that way. And it also goes back to generational things.
Yeah.
Is that if his family brought him up to be that way, to where, and this happens a lot of times where it's like whatever stays in this house, wherever goes on in this house or goes on in this family stays in this family. You don't talk about it to someone else. If you grow up like that, then you're going to have a type of mindset like that.
Yeah, man. I'm unapologetic Gen X, and we are I think we're like the feral generation that they call us. Like we were out there doing things, but we were also taught like suck it up. I remember like in sports, you would get hurt. They'd be like, drink some water, rub some dirt on, and get back in the game. I'm like I'm from the generation also like what are you crying about? You're like because I broke up with somebody. Oh, let's do this. Like avoidance instead of dealing with the emotion. Like you said, manhood. This is a whole nother conversation, but manhood is not defined by like a simple definition, and it's not about like you're the alpha male, so you're a man. It's like manhood is complicated, as is womanhood, as is adulthood, as is just being a person. It's complex.
And then when you get with someone, it makes it even more complex.
Yes,
because you're balancing two people's emotions or two people's lives and having to learn them and that type of stuff. So, yeah.
And just to the men out there, like don't be afraid to talk to somebody. I've been in therapy. I think I talked before. I dealt with abuse. I dealt with grief. I've dealt with being on the side of where I was seeing like really bad traits that I hadn't really dealt with. It was coming out when I was younger. Dealing with how I parent, dealing with all these other things. Even like there's some things about our relationship that I've talked to my therapist about where it's freeing. There's something very like freeing just to talk to somebody and like get it off your chest. And I think a lot of men, it's like, oh, like I'm going to tough it out. I'm going to thug it out. See what I do there? But that idea is also what causes stress, depression, heart attacks, and all these other things because you're holding it all in and you're not letting it out. There are more emotions than anger and like laughter. That's not a feeling, but like joy. And I think it's scary. Like I was reading the statistic. This is not, but it's like how many men like suffer from depression? They don't even know it because it shows up in other ways.
In other ways, yeah.
I get quiet. Also, weed and alcohol
do not help.
And sex and violence are not solutions to your problem. Those are like you're self-medicating, doing those things.
Yeah.
And all you're going to do is you're just putting off the pain. And therapy hurts. I mean, it could be like emotionally, it can be painful in the sense because you have to deal with things.
But deal with it now.
Man, I wish. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say when I first started therapy when I was 38, I had lost my wife, and I walked in the room, and it was her therapist, and first thing I said was, I should have been here about 20 years ago. At least 20 years ago. And my mom and I had a conversation about this. I think I told Monet about this. I lost my dad when I was 11, and I just went to school and I started fighting people and acting out in class. And they were like, "Hey, maybe hear me out. He's upset about this." And my mom, to her credit, it was the 80s. They were like, "Oh, he's fine. Never put me in therapy and grief because it wasn't the era where it was socially acceptable.
Yeah.
Even like when I was a teacher, I worked at a school and I was going to therapy on Thursdays. I'd tell everybody where I'm going. I'm going to therapy.
Yeah.
I'm going to see my therapist.
Yeah.
I'm about to get this therapist to run for her money. But because I want people to know that I do it because I'm trying to break that stigma. That stigma is ridiculous.
Yeah. And I think too, another part of this is that for the ladies, along with therapy, it is okay for you to leave and start over. Like, I think that a lot of times we end up taking people on or taking men on or partners, whatever, and we're like, we see potential. Like, we are going to nurture this potential. We are going to get this person to where we want them to be. We're going to see it through. We're going to get them to the finish line to where we want them to be. Absolutely not.
Doesn't work out.
It doesn't.
No.
It doesn't work out because you keep holding these expectations of this person who never had the qualities, the values, or anything to begin with. And so you're setting unrealistic expectations. You're making them your project when they didn't ask to be one. And so I feel like save yourself time, energy, money, heartache, what else? All the stuff. Just save it, because it goes back to kind of something that we talked about in, I think, our first episode, was that even if you're in a relationship, but even before you get in one, figure out what you really want in a person.
Yep.
Like, do you really want to build someone from the ground up? Yes, some people, they may be an entrepreneur or they have these aspirations to do these things. Are they really working towards them and putting in the effort and the time, still catering to you and doing all these things? Or is it just a dream?
Yeah, jeez.
And it's okay for you to dream and have aspirations. It's okay. But are you putting action behind the things that you say that you want to do? And so I feel like, from experience, you end up wasting time thinking that someone is going to change or going to be this thing that you want them to be. But how long do you want to hold their hand?
Wow.
How long do you want to hold it? Because at some point, they're going to start dragging you down with them. And I would not. I don't want to have my face in the mud.
You would recommend that?
No, wouldn't do it. So yeah.
I think we talked, like marriage, long-term relationships. You have enough that you're betting on. Like you're the unknown. Like life as it's going to do its thing. You don't know what career is going to look like, health, life. You know what the world's going to look like, politics, your children, all these other things. So that's enough to be concerned about. Like, there's enough of the unknowns. Then you add this, like, well, this person also I'm working on. Look, by the way, if that's what you do when you're happy, fine. I would ask some questions.
Project manager.
But that's our next podcast, project managing love. But I think the other thing is, if you find yourself saying I'm okay with it, but you're complaining about it, hear me out. Maybe that's also what you should talk about. Maybe, and that's where the therapist can come in and say, hey, I notice you complaining a lot. How do you really feel about that?
Yeah.
And I will say this too, like from my perspective, like one thing I wished I would have done, and hear this from somebody with a little bit of gray in his beard and seen a few things. I wished I would have. She likes it. I wished I would have done the work on myself earlier. So I hope I'm not saying too much. The version of Jeff that you see now, a lot had to go right and wrong. A lot of sadness, a lot of pain, but a lot of happiness, enjoying a lot of work. And unfortunately, like really bad things had to happen. Horrific, sad, heartbreaking things had to happen to get me here. That didn't have to be the reason that I dealt with myself. It should have been earlier. So when someone's saying, hey, I noticed that you're angry a lot. I was told in high school I was angry a lot. And I was like, I'll be all right. Then I was told in college I was angry. Then I was told in my 20s I was angry. Now, hear me out. That's a theme. But also, like, I was ignoring that, and I didn't do the work. And I was also sad, and I was insecure, and all these other things. Go do the work so you can be the best version of yourself. So when you finally meet the right person, you can be the best version. You, like we said, you have enough to deal with without having to also be like, okay, now I'm trying to figure out who I actually am. And that being said, please, if you take nothing away, it's like, don't listen to somebody who's telling you, don't go find a therapist. Don't talk to people. Also, if you're in a relationship with someone saying that you can only talk to them and nobody else.
That is a type of domestic violence, and you need to leave.
Yes.
Period.
Literally, if you're like, there's organizations like Weave and some other place where you can go.
Yeah. And I think too, is kind of, okay, so when you were talking about how there was patterns with your behavior and things like that. If multiple people are telling you,
Yeah.
if multiple people are telling you that they're seeing something that is concerning them with you, or you know, just kind of listen to see, like, okay, you're saying that I'm doing X, Y, and Z. Can you share with me like what you're seeing? You know, and then start to figure out, is it certain things that are triggering you to react a certain way, or you know, and is there someone that you need to talk to? Like,
Well, and can we also? I don't think we've talked about this. This is a lot of the hard part about the challenging part of like therapy and understanding yourself. The other side of that is we lie to ourselves and go, I want to be a doctor, I want to do these things. And you're like, then you see these patterns of like, oh, well, I really like talking to people and learning about this and learning about like how people are. So maybe and then you realize I really want to go into like, I want to be a writer, I want to be a journalist, I want to go into be a therapist, I want to be a sociologist, whatever it is. That's also where therapy they ask those questions, or groups can ask those questions. Patterns are a big deal just in general. Like if you realize, I don't like every job I've had, I don't like, and every job is in this field. Maybe you should be in that field, right? Or like,
if you don't like talking to customers and you work in a retail place, you shouldn't be there.
Yeah, shout out to my mom, 22 years of retail.
Man, I cannot stand. I'm sorry, I'm about to go on a rant because I cannot stand that. If you cannot smile and greet people, ask them how their day was, and scan the clothes or scan the groceries and make somebody smile, you shouldn't be there.
What's my phrase? I'm like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you and ask you to do your job.
Exactly. Like, ugh.
I had
messing up my grocery shopping experience. And put them in a bag, the right bag.
Oh my gosh. Also, can we? When I say thank you, all right is probably not the same as you're welcome.
Okay, well, but what if it's like, all right?
That's okay. That's acceptable. But like we tell people like I'm not responsible for anybody's happiness, because happiness I believe comes from like, it first comes from you. Like I can do things that make her happy, but I don't know if that's going to provide her actual true happiness. If you're not happy in a space, and I'm not saying it's an easy exit, whether it's a relationship or a job, you want to talk to somebody about, how do I get out of this?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be miserable. And I know I've worked with students. I worked with students for a long time, and my favorite is, they're like, I want to be an engineer. And I'm like, I've seen your math grades. And I have to ask, are you working hard? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, well, unfortunately, unless this changes, this may not be the path for you. Mm-hmm. There's nothing wrong with that. I think you've convinced yourself. That's like when people tell you, you need to stick it out because, grandma and grandpa, they were married for 40 years and they did this, and this. You're like, well, when you really look into some of those relationships, there was a lot of neglect or abuse. Yeah. I'm not critiquing them and saying they're right or wrong. What I'm saying, the fact is, you can see those patterns. Or if you come from a family where somebody, I love you and I'm proud of you isn't said, and you're like, well, that's just how it is. That's not how it is. There are spaces you can go into and be told that, or if you think that's a problem, deal with it. And we're not going to also sit here like we have all the solutions.
Yeah,
we're figuring this out. We figure stuff out.
We figure stuff out, but we do it very well.
We do, which is weird. Which is weird for me because I'm like, I feel like I've been in war some days. Where just recently we had something and she was like, okay, and I was like.
Well, and that goes back to like, you deal with stuff in other relationships and you bring that into new relationships because you're just conditioned to be like, oh, okay, so we don't agree on this thing, but you're not mad at me. You're not about to yell. You're not about to ignore me. You're not about to do these things. And it's like, nah, no. For what?
What did you just say? It was the
your condition.
And the condition is deep. And again, we keep saying therapy, but it's also like one thing that I also say therapy. I think of like podcasts, books.
But take people's advice with a grain of salt.
Well, that's another thing. Like, by the way, everybody who puts a video out there is not an expert.
Yeah, we're not claiming to be that, FYI.
Right? No, I mean I'm
just saying.
Like I'm not really a therapist. No, never mind. I'm not. But no, because we're good listeners, but we're not therapists.
Yeah.
And not even close to it. Well, the other part is also learning learn from other people that are like, you can go to places that learn about communication, find a workshop about communication, find a podcast, find a video series about it. And again, please deal with yourself first and don't expect the other person to figure it out for you.
Listen, because in my book, my yearbook, when I graduated from high school and I was in my little cheer uniform, go Wildcats, Oakland High, period. My quote in there was, in order to love others, you first got to love yourself. And it still remains intact to this day. That's still a bar. Okay?
That is a bar.
It's a bar.
I didn't have a senior quote. I forgot to turn it in because I was, hear me out. Guess what I was doing? Thinking too much about it.
Oh, God.
I think it was
I was in the yearbook like 2-3 times.
I was in my yearbook and another high school's yearbook.
You didn't even go there.
I told you the story.
Yeah, you did.
Can I just tell them real quick?
Yeah.
I was talking about therapy. Got to middle school and I was, what's the word? A jackass. I learned about humor, sarcasm, and class clown lifestyle, and I embraced it to the point where I was in class in 7th grade. Shout out to Miss White. She said, "I can't hear you in the back of the class," and I stood up and I bowed, like thank you, and she said, "Get out." So got it. And she checked me. I never had a problem in that class again. But I had over and over, so many problems, to the point where my mom sent me to private school. I was supposed to go to school with my friends.
Mm-hmm.
When I was 26, 27 years old, I realized my mom was actually right. I called her and she's like, "Yeah, you couldn't have gone to school with your friends." So it was a local high school, Pinole Valley High School. Mm-hmm. If you want to look it up. Me and another friend were actually in the yearbook because we went to meet some friends. They're doing like the club pictures where apparently you just walk in and put your name down.
That's ridiculous.
So we walked in, put our name down in the yearbook.
How did you get on campus?
Because it was open campus. Because we just walk on. And also shout out to Mr. Clark, the vice principal, who thought I went to school there, I thought, for all those years and didn't find out till the Sunday they celebrated the graduates of the church.
Ridiculous.
I walked up with my high school sweatshirt on. He was like, "Oh." I was like,
talk about security.
Oh, I also went to the senior trip with him. Yeah. Shout out to my best friend, the senior class president. He got me on the list, and the teacher, they knew.
Oh God.
Sorry, but like loving, you were saying about loving yourself.
Yeah.
You have to love yourself, and I'm a person that took a long time to really love myself, and she's seen me in moments where I'm struggling to really love myself, and that's where having a good partner in life or life partner comes in.
Just so y'all know, we life partners, okay?
Yeah, shout out to the Bay.
Period.
But when the person shows up and they're struggling or they're in a moment of weakness, and that is 100% part of being a human. Mm-hmm. They fill in that gap. They stand in that space with you and they're like, "No, I'm going to listen to you, but I'm also going to remind you who you are.
Yeah. And
I'm going to pick you up." And I know this from my own life, and you also from your life. She's heard me talk about my friends, and they literally saved me. I was in a dark, dark place, and they lifted me out of that, all by just showing up in their own ways and having those people. And also, I was going to I went to a grief group and some other places, but just having someone to just be like, "Hey,
yeah,
it's okay. It's okay to not be okay. We'll figure this out together, or it may be on your own." Also, just like quick things. On your phone, you have your notes, or you have your the audio record. You can always just put things out there in notes and then erase them. You can record it.
Yeah.
She knows.
And you can lock your notes too.
Yeah, yes, you can.
If you have someone like Thug in your life and you need
Mr. Thug
track things down,
yeah,
you can lock them as well.
A little advice I was told years ago: take out that audio. Like, say you have a meeting. This has never happened to me, but hypothetically, you go to a meeting and it's just a ridiculous meeting. You get in the car afterwards, say what you need to say in that audio clip, and then erase it. Make sure you erase it.
To
put on YouTube and just see what happens.
Be like, now what?
No. By the way, how freeing would that be? No. Yeah. But that's a whole nother piece about communication. We'll get deeper into communication, but I really wish we could just the BetterHelp is out there. If you have you have insurance, a lot of times they offer it as part of your thing. You may have a copay, but here's my rule on benefits. Mm-hmm. You paid for them, you're paying for them, use them all. So,
look, I just found out I got acupuncture treatment.
She did.
Acupuncture treatment. What? And chiropractic?
They got drug treatment. You can go there and you can learn how to quit smoking or start smoking, quit smoking.
You say start. All right.
But also because I know the challenges of things. Everybody thinks therapy is expensive and time. It's literally like an hour virtually.
Yeah.
Once.
I think that's been the best thing is that there's a virtual option because some people don't feel comfortable going in person. So as long as you have a safe place to talk. Sometimes if I'm at work and I have to do my session, I talk in the car.
Yep.
Turn the AC on.
I've done the car. I've done
Yeah.
on campus in a quiet space
Yeah.
outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but that's all we wanted to talk about today.
That's it.
Cause that irked my nerve, and I said, we gotta talk about it.
Mr. Thug was wrong.
Mr. Thug,
Mr. Young Thug was
absolutely not.
And yeah, and Thug and so many other guys are thinking like that. Just you got to get past
No.
that. You're not helping anybody.
And who are you talking to, Mr. Thug? Who are you talking to? If she can't talk to nobody else, she gonna talk to you. Who you talking to?
Are you trying to imply that he's not the best version of himself? He's not healed?
No.
He's not.
So we'll see y'all next time, and y'all tell Thug to get healed. Ain't that what y'all say? Healed. Bye.